Okay. Just waiting another minute or two. And there we are. So, yeah, very warm welcome from my side to the first LinkedIn Live of HR Tech Talk. And we have here the edition called HR Startup Talk with Benjamin Fisser from alligator.com. And yeah, we have a guest today, Pierre, but Ben will introduce the guest.
Yes. First of all, I'm really excited, Pierre, that you're here. I think it's our third podcast. And as we are crazy people, we thought, let's do it in English the first time. And the second thing was, let's stream it. So every viewer out there, please, sorry for any mistakes probably happening. But Pierre, I'm really excited that you're here. Pierre will introduce himself, but he is Chief People Officer for a long time, over 20 years experience, as I'm not correct, if I'm not wrong, working with huge corporations, Fortune 500 corporations, based currently still in Middle East Asia. So also have a great overview about what topics are going there, but also globally. And I think your passion is really innovative HR. So I think you're a great guest and a great addition today to our talk. So welcome, Pierre, but please introduce yourself a bit.
Well, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Robindro, for inviting me. It's a real pleasure to be here. I'm glad, first of all, that it's going to be in English, so not in German. So thank you for that. You briefly summarize who I am. I've been a global HR leader for the past 20 plus years. Started in consulting and in HR tech somehow. So it's good to go back to the roots after 20 years. And after working with big corporations like Kellogg's or Coca-Cola in HR leadership role, I've done a switch earlier this year and started to be more involved in tech and startup. That was really a choice. And that's why my path crossed the one from Ben and Alligator. And on top of investing in the HR tech world, I do an advisory role for two of the startups where I'm particularly passionate, Wonder and Selectic. And from the 1st of September, I will take over Chief People Officer role for a tech company in Switzerland. So voilà, so I'm in the middle of a move as we speak.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Pierre, for taking your time, because we know that you're in the middle of a move and quite busy. Talking about HR tech, maybe to kick off with, I mean, everybody's talking right now about AI. I said the last time internally, every time if I would need to drink a shot, if I get a pitch deck where it stated AI on it, I would be drunk after 10 in the morning. So AI is a really hot topic, especially in the HR tech sector. Considering this, like, what areas do you see where AI makes really sense out of your experience of over 20 years within HR, and what areas you probably also say, yeah, it's nice that you're talking about AI, but we probably should focus on ABC first?
Look, I'm very passionate about AI, and it's funny because you said you're 20 years, so AI was not existing 20 years ago, but there always been data. It's just started from data, big data, and now we are talking using the term AI. So somehow it was always there in another terminology. I think the way I see AI, there's one basic. It can do what humans will take more time to do and can manage way more data. So all the tasks that typically an HR shared service would do to answer policy question, to answer those basic tasks, or can be done through AI. So that's one. Now, where it is also quite helpful is linking and managing all the quantity of data that are available. And that's what you see now, is that you have a lot of technology out there that are linking all those data and providing predictive analytics. So that's for me is the direction that is taking. Now, can we fully rely on what is out there? Not yet. So I think the first task that for any HR person is to equip themselves to understand what AI is about. And that's what I'm doing as we speak. So I'm doing an AI training with someone in Germany called Elena Jager, who's teaching how to build your own bot. Because I think fundamentally the first thing, and probably my best advice, is to create your own first employee, an HR bot, where that speaks your language, that knows how you think, and that's quite easy to do. So that's it.
That's nice. So you're currently attending such a training, and the goal is after the training you have your personal assistant.
Correct. I will have my own bot. That's my. So you're gonna tell her you're gonna use all the content I've created, published, and it's gonna be a closed one because you know that ChatGPT is an open one. So I will close it and use it for myself and nurture it with my own content. That's the idea.
I think
Nice.
if you look at that topic, right, it goes very strongly in the direction of automation. Do you have in mind if you after your training, after you've trained your own bot, are there any processes which pops into your mind you will go or tackle first?
Look, automation is super important. The amount of time I've seen my teams working on not useless tasks, but really lengthy tasks that requires a lot of hours to create a talent review deck, to do all the pre-selection of CVs, etc. I mean, there are a lot of solutions out there where you can automate. Recruitment is the obvious one where I would love to see much more work being done in all that automation of the pre-selection phase. And other ways as well to interview. So there are solutions out there now doing interview for you with an avatar, and that's that chat box and collecting info, and the listening skills of an AI is better in my opinion than a human being. Now we can talk about the humanization and the empathy, etc. So that's the part where AI is not fully there, but recruitment is definitely one. Learning and development is the other area where you can curate knowledge and build your own development plan based on what the system knows about you. And the last is people analytics. You have companies like Visir providing those beautiful link of all the data being available, and then where are your talent, who gonna be your potential leavers or people at risk, and you can really make way more data-driven decisions. So there's quite a few areas where you can really do automation.
It's quite interesting because I mean you mentioned before you were working for huge corporations like Coca-Cola and Kellogg, for example, and I can imagine like implementing HR tech in such huge corporations is not so easy. And sometimes when I'm talking to HR directors or CHROs, they say like, yeah, you know what, it's on our table to implement more HR tech in our process, but sometimes it's really hard to get like the employees really using it and adapting to it. Like, did you use something in the past, or how did you solve these problems maybe in the past? And can you maybe share some tips and insights on this?
Yeah, so look, that's the reality. Anytime you do a new initiative, it's the typical change management of going through the phase of acceptance. Some people take more time than others. I've seen those models, also self-service models, are way more developed than they used to be. Now, but we can no longer do the spoon feeding. So the spoon feeding is no longer. So you expect somehow people now to adapt to those solutions. If you have the backup is not there and the human is not there, and they have to use the solution, yeah, they will have to use the solution. So you need to explain the benefit, why we are doing it. It's the idea of consolidating the data and the information. But I don't have a magic wand. It requires a lot of conversation from my teams, from the business to adhere and make it happen. That's it.
I think it's actually something, it's a blind spot in a lot of companies that artificial intelligence not only has to be tackled, but also has to be accompanied, like the big change management process. Some of our customers also, because you mentioned people analytics, some of our customers mentioned also that not only the artificial intelligence revolution has to be accompanied, but also the data revolution. Like more and more working and relying on data has to be also included in this change management process.
I fully agree. And the thing that happens with AI in the past, HR function was not necessarily on the forefront when it comes to investing in terms of HR technology. Now that it's touching all the aspects of the business, it's as I call it, it's an AI tsunami or digitalization tsunami that is happening in organization. There's no choice. HR has to be in the driving seat for the business because it's changing the way we work, but also for themselves as a function. We have a big role to play to now accelerate and go beyond just the use of your basics workday success factor. There are way other process that needs automation and technology.
Now you worked a lot of years in Middle East and Asia and have an insight in there, but also now have more and more insights into the European market. Do you see any differences? Like, is one part like more open for innovation than the others, or is it like, from your experience, not a big difference between, for example, Europe and Asia when it comes to the implementation, for example, of HR tech or ideas?
Yeah, so first of all, I see similarities where you have still, whether it's in Asia, Middle East, or Europe, you have way advanced companies that using technology and they are way ahead of the others. And then you still have local companies that are still close to personnel management and then through HR. So that is a fact. The difference I would see is that in Asia, also because of the scale of the region, there's way more solutions coming out there. So the speed to market seems to be seems a bit faster. So from what I see, but then on the contrary, Europe remains solid when it comes to reliability. We have that reputation of having reliable solutions. And but I'm really surprised, even in Europe, the quantity of solutions that are coming out are just outstanding.
Question in that direction. From my point of view, but it's perhaps some kind of bubble view. Yeah, in Europe, or no, actually in Germany, someone hit the pause button when it comes to speed to market in terms of AI. Did you experience that too, or is it just me talking about a small bubble? Because it was like last year everyone was talking about lots of content creation also in Germany, and this year it was very calm, like very, yeah, a lot of other topics were discussed, but not so much AI.
For me, it remains the top of mind topic. There's two topics in HR. It's AI and data analytics. Those are the two trendy area where HR needs to adapt those two. The rest remains. So no, I haven't experienced that. I don't know, Ben. From your side, is there something else?
I think no. A lot. I mean, when I take a look at pitch decks right now, I would say in 95% of all pitch decks, somehow they include AI. The experience in that is also like AI is not AI. So sometimes if you dig a dip deeper, and that's I think also what you guys explored, is that they implement or they're using the ChatGPT API, and they claim they're building like a huge AI solution. And I think, don't get me wrong, I think it's good to use existing models out there for use cases. I think that's something I see quite often right now, so that they no code, low code solutions. So you don't need a lot of developers, and use like the existing technology and models to build use cases like your personal assistant, what you're building by yourself. But I would a bit disagree also. I'm seeing a lot of AI stuff right now, and actually a lot of into this analytics part, what you mentioned. And I mean, if you take a look right now at like also the investment overview. So where are people currently investing in within the HR tech space? Is like analytics is quite always at the top. I think which also comes a bit about or is a bit regarding the situation where we are in, where right now also we are less looking a bit about managing people remotely, etc. I think that was like during COVID and post-COVID the hottest topic, like how I can manage virtually people, etc. And now it's switched a bit more, I think, especially in Germany because of the recession we had and about the still hard economic situation we are in, that it's more about like efficiency again. So how I can be more efficient, how I can be more efficient in my process, not only in HR, but in general in the company. So, but also I think if you take a look at the companies who are using AI or in general HR tech for analytics, it's not like 70-80%. It's way less. So it's a big gap, I think, between what companies want to implement or what they have on the table and what's still there.
Yeah, but that was also my impression. Like, I'm working for a talent intelligence company, and we survey, for example, also Germany. And on average, the people the employees in Germany, only I think 3 to 5% say we have never used or tested AI. This is a very small amount actually in people, but we have subsets where this number goes up to 30%. So I think it could be easily happen that we just forget some people to take with us on the journey.
That's the challenge, absolutely. So unfortunately it goes so fast, but the responsibility of the company is to take people with you, so to forget people down the road, that's not okay. So that's, I don't know the data that you're referring to. I'm not specific enough on the German market, but unfortunately, yes, the acceleration and the need for upscaling and rescaling of the people will be a reality. You expect the company to take a big portion of it, but ultimately it's your responsibility to take your development in your hands. Because it is there, it is going to stay. So it is important.
When we're talking about analytics, I mean, you worked for like huge corporations before, like, and I'm pretty sure like a company like Coca-Cola have some analytics software implemented. I don't know if you can share things about it, but maybe out of your experience, if you take a look into the past, can you share like one example what you did with analytics, for example, at one company?
It's not software. You can do something very sophisticated on the analytics. It's the as I was mentioned, Vizier for me is the Rolls Royce when it comes to analytics. But you can also be as simple as creating a scorecard. That's what happened. Sometimes you'll be surprised that big corporation takes more time to implement because of the RFP process and all those things. But a scorecard is something I did a couple of years ago, where there was a need to take all the data available and create what was required locally. So we started with Excel, and then in a week time, we used Power BI, and it was implemented. So you don't always need to have a ultra sophisticated solution, but then when you have that, you can take it to the next level. That's an example.
I think what you're saying is totally right. Also, begin with something. Yeah, I think we need to move in HR to more data decisions
Absolutely.
and or decisions made by data or focused or supported by data. So, and if we start with Excel, when you have nothing before, it's already a good start, and then go from there. One thing, Rubino, because I'm just checking the chat. So maybe also if you are right now viewing this and have a question to Pierre, just comment. We see the comments here, and then we can take them into the live chat. I have one quite funny comment already from Natalia, who wrote like, maybe finally, thanks to AI, all candidates will receive some feedback after the selection process. Funny, yeah, funny because it's true, but also I think the point, and I don't know if you want to make this point, Natalie, on this, but HR has still something to do with humans, and I think that's also maybe a topic we can discuss later a bit. That a lot of people are a bit afraid of AI and technology in general because they are thinking, okay, what happened to my job? Yeah, but this is maybe something we can discuss later a bit. But like I said, if you have any questions to Pierre or to Robindo, just drop them in the comments.
Yeah, also participate in the discussion. But I think it's actually a valid point. It's like we are afraid of AI taking over perhaps the jobs, but we seem to be also afraid of candidates because we don't really communicate very well with them, at least not in Germany. So
well, it's the same everywhere. It's the same everywhere. So a process, whether it's with or without technology, it's so that's, it depends on how you craft the solution. But yeah, there's still some work to be done.
We actually have a question from Till, who's asking if AI cannot like backfire, or the use of AI backfiring, because we don't have really a transparency of what is the AI actually doing. And that's quite interesting point you're making, Till, because not just, but I came back from Unleash in America. They make a huge convention about HR tech, and one of the biggest topics there was not the use of AI. It was more like what the transparency of AI. And funny story, they quite liked also, for example, GDPR, so which every German hates somehow GDPR in the beginning, but they quite liked it because they said like it's a good standard and you can make sure like where's your data going, etc. And now, I mean, we now have like the AI Act coming up in Europe. But what's your view on that? Because also we had in the past some examples. I remember this Amazon example, I think, who trained like years ago an AI with like more male data, and then it declined female data. So what's your view on this?
So two things. One, governance is critical. So whether it's from what's happening in Europe or GDPR is a good thing. So it will help putting a framework and a governance around the use of data. Yes, I know the case that you are referring to a couple of years ago with Amazon. And the thing that is really important is to understand what's in the black box. So one of the things, and who's going to do that work for you, right? So are you going to do yourself and understanding what's the algorithm used, what are the data used? But you need people in your organization that are capable to open that black box, because there's no black box. It's a list of data. What are the data? How clean are the data? And I think that's probably a shifting of role. You're talking about the human impact of AI. Yes, some roles will no longer be relevant tomorrow, but there are new roles that will become super important to make sure that the data are relevant. And to the point of Thiel, it's based on past data. If the data were only linked to white males, which was the case in the previous past, there are ways to control those variables, and but there's a constant control that is super important. We are not fully there, and I still believe that it's a support in the recruitment process. It's cannot be fully automated, but when it comes to screening CVs and taking or summarizing your interview notes, I mean, there are a lot of solutions that can simplify your life.
I think it's as you said now, it could be perhaps, as it also was mentioned in the chat, it could be a little bit dangerous at the moment if you're not fully aware what's happening in the selection process done by AI. But this is just a very, very small part of what AI could do in the whole talent acquisition area. Like,
Yes.
I think the most advantage we will gain out of AI next year is automation of administrative things. Yeah, like we did a few months ago, we did a big survey on candidates, and I'm not sure what was the number one answer, but it was like finding the right job for me. Then it was everything about interview termination, how to whom to speak and when to speak, and when are the the dates and all that stuff. So candidates, they say, please use AI company, and please use it where you lose a lot of time, like where I'm waiting hell like 3 to 4 weeks to get an interview or anything else, or an answer to an application or feedback.
I agree. So that's the first layer. The first layer is to remove the low added value task that you can automate. We were talking about the more advanced already AI solutions, but let's start from the basics. I fully agree with you.
Thanks a lot for all the questions coming in. Mark asked, what is your experience with handling data in international companies for HR analytics? But I think it's in general, because I mean, you work for huge international companies, and I imagine you there you have like different countries you're overseeing. Probably the different countries are probably using sometimes different systems. So how did you combine those data, and how did you did this in the past?
Look, I have expert in the team doing that, so I will don't pretend that I know fully the answer. But the idea is, what's the most commonly used data protection at a global level, even if you don't have the same level of data protection in countries like I am now in the Middle East. Doesn't mean that global companies will lay down the level of expectation. So that's all I would say. So I'm not an expert in that, Mark. I cannot tell you way more.
I could give an answer for it. It's not exactly an international case, but we already have that problem or that challenge if you try to combine different sources, data sources in Germany of the labor market. Yeah, for example, job ads are differently, or job titles are completely differently differently understood by companies than by the government. Then the titles are very different. A lot of companies make up titles and all that stuff. And to combine those data sources, like how many job ads are available at the market for a specific job versus how many people with a specific skill set are available in the market. And what we did, or what we do to bring those data sources together, we try to translate every source into a skill-based language. Like, skill is at the moment the smallest, how you say, the smallest common sense the data sources have, and that's a hell lot of work, but it works more or less. And I think that will be more complicated if you get more and more data sources all over the world.
Well, that's correct. I agree with you. And talent marketplace, skill-based organization, yes, correct. It is something that is expanding. Again, it's how you define yourself. Where do you start? There are framework out there, so you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You have solutions like a Gloat or others that have done the pre-work to decompose. But yes, job title, job skill. I've seen that all my life. Is the complexity of job evaluation, and you're talking about two different things while they have the same terminology. So it goes back to the quality of the data and the information that you have.
A question regarding learning and development from Sana in the chat, where she's asking, how do you see the future of learning and development? Are there startups you're watching? And do you believe that immersive learning will be finally adapted soon? And regarding immersive learning, you have some unfair insights, I would say.
Yes. So look, I have a direct involvement with a startup, Wonder, that is providing training in virtual reality. It's mind-blowing, because it's another tool, I would say, out of your typical e-learning, in-class training, etc., that can add to a portfolio. You don't have that same need of organizing the in-class. You can do that at home. It's super efficient, and it's, when I say it's mind-blowing, I've done one. It was related to giving feedback. Now, let's say you are an avatar and I'm giving you the feedback. The person in front of me was really reacting like a normal person, because it's using AI, so it was listening to me. And to be honest, I could feel that I can practice quite a few times and experiment, the improvement of the skill. While you go to a class, or or you're reading something, you will not necessarily learn the same way. So, and you don't need a coach next to you to do it. So I think there's a lot of good things going on in terms of immersive learning experience, like what Wonder is offering. And the other is more curated content based on your needs and development. There's a lot going on, and probably Ben, you know more on those than I do. It's changing. It's changing a lot these days, and it's good.
Ben, that's a perfect question for you. What's your watch list?
Watch list for what?
For learning and development startups. Is there some startups we should put on our watch list? We should observe.
Yeah, I mean several. I mean, I'm a bit biased now because obviously we invested in some, but like Pierre mentioned, I think Wonder is really a great startup to watch, and I think for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's like what Pierre said, and there are like studies about this, that within immersive learning, you're learning better. So if you see something, feel something in this immersive world, it's not only fancy, so it's not only, okay, this is fun. By the way, the fun is helping, by this learning experience. But there are studies out there with Harvard and University and Co, which really showing, okay, when you're doing learning and development in an immersive environment, it's better. But also the second thing is like, I mean, we're talking about like cost efficiency, etc. Yeah, and I mean, you can bring 200 people, 200 leaders to one hotel for 3 days and fly them in from all over the world and book several coaches, and imagining the cost about this, or the other solutions, like you send somebody like just a virtual reality glasses to their home, and they can do the training whenever they like, without a trainer, without a coach, and also in an environment where they probably feel safe to learn stuff, because as we know, some people are more introvert, for example. They're probably not like ask questions in a way somebody who's extrovert. So I think this is something really exciting. I mean, another thing is, and we mentioned it a bit, regarding skills and automatically creating path for learning is skill ties, because they're actually building a German AI. So they're not using like ChatGPT. They really built like a German AI, and in general, I think, except of skill ties and HR tech, but we need like more deep tech in Germany, and I think it's a good thing that we are focusing also on creating own AI solutions in Germany or in Europe, and not only let them be done by the US and by the Chinese. So, and for example, what they're doing is you can really run like a skill-based or skill-orientated company, and they can create like automatically learning paths, so you can analyze, okay, this is my workforce now, I need to be in 3 years, I need to be there. And then they create individually like what you would do as a learning and development manager, but fully automatically. They source different kind of training materials, podcasts, books, online training, offsite training, and give you like an individual learn path till you're there where you should be. So this is like out of our portfolio, like 2 startups, for example, which are using really AI. So it's not like AI painted on a deck, on a sales deck, but they use really AI, but also from my point of view, where it makes sense. Because I mean, we started in the beginning. Not all tasks needs to be done by AI. Sometimes it's a normal automation would work, and also we need to begin with something. Yeah, I mean, I've been so many times at mid-size or small companies, and they're still using Excel for their applicant tracking. Yeah, so if we start with AI there, it's a long way. Yeah, but we need to start somehow.
Nice. I would add.
And if I can build on what you,
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And I would just wanted to add 2 more startups. One is a Tenzi for the watch list. It's a startup. They try to combine. Me, not an expert talking. Yeah, combine more or less a gaming engine with learning content, so that you can build real games, not just gamification, but real games where you learn things. And what also caught my eye was Synthesia.io, which is not in the first place a learning startup, but it is you can use it for making trainers scalable. Like you can build your own avatar, and the avatar can do a lot of things using AI, and you can copy your clone yourself. So I think that's also very interesting in terms of learning and, for example, class sizes.
That's good. No, what I wanted to say, and building on that question, where to start, right, with HR tech, and there's no one answer that fits all. One solution or one idea that I think works quite well, and I advocate that a lot, is to organize what I call HR safari. Okay, so you take your HR team, you either send them to different startups, or you invite a couple of startups or companies to your company, and then you learn. You talk about what they provide. You see whether that fits with your solutions, and then you debrief as a team of what makes sense, and that's how you define your digitalization journey. You experiment in an area, and if it works, you expand and you repeat. That's the best solution, in my opinion, to start. But it starts from curiosity. There's a lot of things out there. There's not, there's a lot, some better than others, but that's what I would do. HR safari.
To add on this, and maybe then we're taking the next question. Is we've done it several times with companies, actually, what you described, so that we talked to the HR leader, or the HR leader approached us and said, like, hey, I have like 20, 30, 40 of my top executive HR staff globally, and we want to make like a day of innovation. Yeah, and can you show what's possible within AI? What are use cases? Can we discuss what are also the challenges? Yeah, I mean, it's not so easy. And you mentioned before to say, like, I have a new implementation I implemented to the company with like 20,000, 30,000 employees. It's not a walk in the park. It's necessary, but it's not easy. So also, therefore, everybody who's based in Germany or want to visit us in Berlin, drop us a message or drop me a message. We are more than welcome to give you just an overview, because we also, and I think that's important, I mean, we, for example, as an investor into HR tech, we are currently building community, and we really want to connect like all the different stakeholders. And I think it's really important that we bring companies together, to startups, to investors, to HR consultancies, so to freelancers, etc. So just a shout out, everybody who's interested should send me a DM. Yasin, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correct, is asking about like the offshore freelancers. If I summarize the question, it's a bit about, there are a lot of freelancers in all over the world who are doing right now simple tasks, basic coding, data entries, and so on. And obviously AI could replace those kind of freelancers in the future. And the question is a bit like, what's happening with those kind of people? And I think we can also think about like basic HR stuff. Yeah, I mean, there are still people sitting in companies doing data entries and doing stuff which we definitely can automate. We don't even probably need AI for this, but obviously a lot of people potentially can lose their job. because of AI. What are your thoughts on this, Pierre?
Look, there's been from all times technological or evolution of the society. There are jobs that were existing before that we saw disappearing and being replaced by other jobs. I think it's the same story right now. The speed of the change is probably the difference. I don't know what I don't know is the other real answer, right? Because we're going to create a new world, but fundamentally, are we going to focus on what matters and the core of humans being on problem solving, being on collaboration? They are still the basic, I would say, and critical skills that will remain important for a company to operate. So it depends on the industry. Yes, everybody will be impacted like it was before, but I know as well that there are new roles that will be created.
Actually, I think that I think the freelancers are, for me, freelancers are more like little speedboats. I think they will be able to adapt quite quickly. If AI takes over parts of their jobs, they will adapt. I'm considering more those people who checked the box in our survey with I'm working in a company, but I have never used ChatGPT or anything like that, like 3 months ago. And I think those people are actually those who are in a big ship, like a big company, which anyway will move very slowly and they will be forgotten. So that's the people I would. So I think freelancers could if they could adapt very quickly.
And that's the trend, right? We're talking about gig industry where you go. It is a reality. So we're gonna have more and more freelancers coming and doing a specific task. It's no longer the era where you join a company and you're gonna retire with that company. We know that, right? So it's not something new that I say, but freelancers is yes, it's developing very fast, and it's a
And
good
also,
thing.
what I would add in all the things, there's an opportunity. Yeah. So, I mean, if I would be a freelancer right now and doing those kind of tasks, I would by myself using AI just to do more tasks. Yeah, because I can probably program like three times faster, etc. And there will still be companies out there who then needs the help, but then it's more maybe also like a translator, yeah, because just AI is there. You still need people like to train the AI to implement it into the current setting, to translate like, okay, what you want to achieve as a human being. So I think I said years ago, I think the direction HR people are more going is more they're becoming like a product owner somehow, yeah. So they should get the requirements and then they probably need to translate it to like AI solutions and tech solutions. So I think and I agree what you're saying, Pierre, on this. It's like we had it so often in the past. Yeah, I mean, I remember the discussion when we had like the Windows 95 coming up, so everybody was able to use the computer easy. We had the discussion with like probably we had the discussion by I'm pretty sure by okay, now we have cars, yeah, and what happens with the horse riders, yeah, so they got unemployed. Yeah, we had the discussion with like taxi drivers in Uber, yeah, so will there be still taxi drivers? By the way, there still be taxi drivers out there, but so I think it's like just somehow evolution, and I think as not everybody will be 100% tech AI company, there still is a need, and I think there will be even an increasing need for people who are like those translators. I mean, you're a good example. You're doing right now a training at an AI expert to help you. Yeah, and I think those kind of job roles, like helping and using those AI, will be massively increasing in the coming years.
Yeah. But you need to embrace it. You know, that's super important. You know, that's to your point where some people haven't touched ChatGPT or AI. So how to make it fun for people? Because it is fun. And that's where we have a role to play, HR function, to make it fun.
I think too, there will be a lot of more jobs coming on. And for example, I think you mentioned you're in Dubai at the moment. Yeah, like for
Yes,
weeks
I am.
now, my TikTok stream is full of advertisement from the Emirates, from Dubai exactly. They are promoting 1 million scholarships for prompt engineers who are willing to come to Dubai to do the classes and then work there. And I was like, what? That can't be real. But there are a lot of articles proving that. So I think there will be a lot of new
But
jobs. Just it's like Ben said, we have to embrace
yes,
the opportunities. If you don't, jobs
but
jobs won't fall from heaven. So
no, and the UAE at the forefront on this front in terms of they have a minister of
really,
AI,
oh, I didn't know that.
they schools, university, and a plan to. They will be the first city in the world with AI, most advanced with AI. So I'm not surprised with what you're just mentioning now. It's happening in certain part of the world more than others. That's what it is, and the speed will be different depending on the investment and the vision
Yeah, but
of
it's
the
already
leaders.
a country race, no?
Yeah, and we see. I mean, we're discussing since years, since decades, if we get a like digital minister for Germany. I think the discussion is like since when we have the discussion.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. And we now have one minister, and one part is like digital, but not focusing on digital at all. And other countries are have a way faster speed on this. And this is actually from I think from a European perspective a bit concerning, especially from a German perspective. Yeah, that we're really losing a bit this the grip, yeah, on the technology part in some cases.
Yeah, actually, I
Um,
admit for a short amount of time, I was thinking about moving to Dubai, but my wife said don't. Yeah, but I think it's quite appealing for a lot of people.
My apartment is free.
maybe another question. We just have like 12 minutes to go. So if you have any other questions, dear chat, feel free. Ekaterina, yeah, Rubino?
Yeah, the question about mental health.
Yes, I just wanted to that
Yeah.
because I think mental health was, I would say, during COVID and post COVID, I would say, I mean, I've not done a statistic yet on it, but from my stomach feeling, 50% of all pitch decks I got like the first 6 months after post COVID were about mental health. So it was like the top topic. Right now, we discussed it before. It's a bit more into analytics, more like the hard topics, I would say, and not the soft ones. But what are your thoughts on it? How can AI help us there? If AI can help us there.
Well, I will answer, but then I will ask you as well. So mental health, well-being is a topic, and I've seen some solutions using some apps and AI to guide you and coach you when you go through different challenges in your life. So it's like someone that gives you advice on how to be better and mindfulness, etc. So there's a lot of solutions out there. In detail, I have to be honest, I haven't deep dive, and is AI that advanced in that area other than giving coaching and advice based on what you're telling them? I don't know. Maybe you've seen things, both of you, or
No, only AI coaching, like I think there are some reports about not mental health in a business context, but also having as AI dogs in old people homes and all that stuff, and that enhanced their abilities, and they are how do you say that, they are not feeling so alone and have more interaction and all that stuff. actually we currently have a mental health report on our website because we're trying to track this topic in the area of candidates, how they feel. Is it currently a very stressing situation in Germany? The market or the industry is still going a little bit down, just about to going up again. But we are tracking that, and we are also always asking the candidates, do your companies have programs to deal with mental health issues? And a lot of candidates still say they don't have any programs, not to think of AI programs or AI guided things. And those who say they have programs or help from their companies, like nearly 90% say it's successful. It helps them and it brings them back to work. And I think AI could also help in this topic by just analyzing the data, because I think it is still a field which has a lot of sources where stress comes from. It is a very complex area due to all the information overload we are facing. So perhaps AI could, by just analyzing the data, show more ways out of situations or something like that. But I'm not aware of any startups, HR startups, which are explicitly tackling this mental health issue with AI.
So that's a question for you, Ben, because yes, big corporations are typically using employee assistant program where, anonymous, you can call and contact them and they guide you. That's a question that I have. Is there a direction or an evolution of those programs that will be more HR tech or AI driven?
I mean, I've seen some startups like where they are able to connect you easier to people helping you, for example, and also where they create sometimes with AI relevant content. So yeah, I've seen more and more coming up into this direction actually.
It's another big theme. Well-being remains a big theme with data analytics.
Yeah, Ekaterina also wrote in the chat. Still is, mental health is still a topic, and it always was, and it will continue.
Absolutely.
I think the only what I meant was like the focus sometimes from companies, so where are spending right now money on, or also from investors. So there are always sometimes trends, and sometimes it was like mental health. So a lot of investments were made there, and right now it's a lot of analytics. But next year it could be something different. It's a very dynamic market. As we have like 7 minutes left, Pierre. I mean, I would go a bit away from the tech topic, even when we are a tech podcast, and would ask you like, why have you chosen like to working in HR from the beginning, and what was so far the most rewarding like experience what you had in the past as an HR expert or as an HR leader?
Oh my God, it feels like an interview, Ben. That's a typical question. So why HR? It's the way it started. So I studied organization psychology. That's the starting point. So it was related how to the ergonomic theme, the how people work together, the systemic approach. That was the my starting point. And I did an internship for an HR tech company called SHL. Specialized in assessment and psychometrics, and that's where it all started. So it was not directly HR; it was tech and people related. For me, those are the two things that I've always been interested in: is people and tech and business, of course. So it started there, but really where I get my pleasure is being in an HR leader role, because you can do two things. You support the growth of the business and the growth of the people. And my tagline has always been grow with us. So when you see people growing with the company and becoming better and finding themselves fulfilled in their job, that for me is most rewarding job that I can see. I don't know if I answer your question, but yeah, that's indirect way to HR, but it was people and people, business, technology. That was the entrance.
Cool.
And it will continue, those three buckets. The technology bubble is growing more. So if you ask about what are the key skills for HR people nowadays, yes, data analytics is one. The second one, and you touched briefly, the consulting, the ability to understand the problem, come with solutions, and implement it. Those are the critical skills that you expect now an HR to have in the skill set.
Okay. There were lots of comments in this session. I'm like surprised, positively surprised about all the comments, and I'm actually not sure whether this session would shut automatically or not.
No, you need to end it. I
Just
guess.
because you just mentioned the time, it was like, are we like, is there a hard cut, or is
we probably do a hard cut so that
Yeah.
Pierre can pack the boxes for his move. But I guess LinkedIn is not doing a hard cut. As we are near at the end, then is there anything, Pierre, from your side? What is there any topic you want to discuss, or is there anything you want to say, or you want to share from your side?
Look, I think I mentioned the thing that I believe is the most important. Create your own bot and teach your own bot and have your first employee by yourself. It's not complicated. There are people out there that help you with a few hours, which I'm doing that. I'm doing that program. It's a 4-week program, 3 hours a week. So it's not a lot. It's not too expensive. And then I'll have my own assistant. So that's my first one. 2 is being curious, and we talked about that HR safari. Bring people out there, big, small startups, and organize. Yes, it can be done in Berlin, but you can also do that anywhere you want. And 3, yes, have the people to understand what's beyond the black box. So with it, is it within HR, or how HR partner with the IT and digital team? That's where I see a big evolution. We need to have those blurry lines somehow. Who cares who's doing the job between HR or digital IT? But you need people that have statistician, mathematicians type of skill to understand the quality of the data. So data analytics role are super important as we embrace those roles, and so that then we can really focus on the human side of the HR function, which is hiring, developing, and retaining our talent. That's what is important at the end of the day.
I would say a beautiful last words, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So please let us know whether the session was nice or not, or helpful. And I guess Ben and I, we will definitely do it again.
Yes, and if you maybe Pierre, in your new role, 6 months or in 12 months into your new role, maybe we do a second part and you share like your new experience there. Yeah.
With pleasure. Always, it was a real pleasure.
Thank you so much.
It was
yeah. And we see Ekaterina, also famous last comment. I would like to work with a leader like you, Pierre. Wow. I think I think that's awesome. And I think if somebody who's now watching or listening want to get in contact with you, I think the easiest way is via LinkedIn, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have my name there. So just write to me. I'll be more than happy to connect.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you
very much.
Bye-bye.
Take care.